waiting for my co-host to join. How's everyone doing? Drop in the chat. How you doing today? Bless you too. Hello, hello. So Dawn will be joining shortly. How's everybody doing? Type in the chat. Type your level from 1 to 10. What was today like for you? 1 being it was horrible, 10 being it was great. Alrighty. Let's see. So this is the Whole Woman podcast. I'm waiting for Dawn, which is my co-host, and today we're going to be talking about mind-body alignment. So I'm excited to get into that with you guys soon. But in the meantime, if there's any questions or anything you have or want to talk about, just put it in the chat and we can, oh, you're at a 10, that's good. Put it in the chat and we can kind of talk about it. So 10 means you've had a great day today. Mine was more like I'll say like a 3, because it was a very emotional day today. So this podcast is going to be fitting today. Thank you for the compliment. I'll take them always. Let me see where Dawn is. Okay, 1 second. Alrighty. Thanks for your patience, everybody. Who we got on here? So where is everybody from? Put it in the chat. What areas, what state? Thank you. Oh, there she is. Dawn, try to request again. Okay, here we go. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Doing fine. A few technical difficulties, but I'm here. So
good. As am I. It's been a crazy day, but we're here. We made it. Okay. So I want to just reset the room and just welcome everybody to the Whole Woman podcast. It's where we're going to talk about all things mindset, movement, and motivation. And today, I'm Nubia Ra, your certified spiritual life and mindset coach. And I'm excited because this topic is really fitting for today because it's been a very emotional day. And so, but I want to let Dawn share with us a little bit first.
I am a women's strength and fitness coach here in San Diego, California. And I help women strengthen their bodies and empower their minds, empower their mindset as well. And so I'm excited today to kind of dive a little deeper into this concept of transformation, which really involves body-mind alignment. So happy Thursday.
Yes. So to me, this is a very exciting topic, and it's an important one because we need to, when we start to try to address our trauma or our fitness goals, we usually focus on one aspect of things. And so we might try to heal our trauma by just really going and doing mental work or even spiritual work. And then we sometimes, when we're looking to just get our fitness goals accomplished, we really might just go hard in the gym and kind of forget everything else. But that true transformation happens when we are actually aligning our mind and our body. And so I want to talk about something which is, I learned about it probably a few years ago, but it's the power of emotional healing. And when you connect through this alignment, which is that mind and that body, you're able to actually heal on a whole level. And so what I've been seeing is that I'll often see people, they try to, they're holding on to emotional trauma into their bodies, but they're not realizing that that's what's there. And so there's the stress and the pain and that emotional baggage. It's not going to just sit in your mind, right? It actually manifests physically. And so that is something that when I started really researching and learning it, it kind of took things to another level for me.
Yes, absolutely. This idea, I mean, when you think about it, it really does make sense. This emotional trauma that's stored in the body, it's going to manifest itself somehow. You are tuned in, you can sense, this tension that you hold, perhaps tightness. It can be in different parts of the body, in the hips, the groin area, chest, and it can even show up as illness in the body. Um, it's a totally new concept, but it is really worth exploring. Thinking about where trauma comes from, this can come from anywhere in our past. It may be our childhood past, maybe dealing with our family of origin. It could be you could have trauma that has taken place in your adult life, such as birth trauma, and trauma from past relationships. All these things do and can get stored, in our bodies. And then our bodies, of course, our bodies are made, so well, designed so well that it's going to protect you. Your brain
Mm,
will protect you, and do what it to keep you moving forward. And sometimes we think we are doing just that. We're moving forward,
yeah.
but things will pop up, trigger. And that's where we start to see, okay, well, how can we move this energy, that is stored in the body? How can we move that out and away from us? And that can come along with, talking these things through, taking an approach that deals spiritually,
Mhm.
but also movement. And so really they can go hand in hand to help with healing through these things.
Yeah, so that's what I always tell my clients is the body remembers. And there's a great book called The Body Keeps the Score. And another book that I love, which is The Emotion Code. And so, like you said, you may think that you might have mentally moved on from something, but the body hasn't had the opportunity to release that. And so those stored emotions actually get stuck in the body. And in the emotion code, they kind of compared it to like a tuning fork. And so let's say you had four tuning forks that were next to each other. And if you struck one tuning fork, everything else would start vibrating. And so let's say you have the energy or the emotion of anger stuck in your body. And you come against situations that may not make someone else angry, but because you already have that emotion stored in your body, it automatically triggers you. And so you get more angry. And so this is if you're not healing that, it's being stuck in your body and you're wondering why you're doing all this work and all these journaling and affirmations, yet you still have this trauma in your body. And this is why, for me, teaming up with you, Dawn, I think is so important because the movement of the physical body really helps you to release that stale energy.
Yes, yes. Fitness, movement plays, and in fact, let me correct myself. It really is more about movement than it is specifically about fitness. Fitness deals with another sort of aspect of health. But movement plays a role in emotional relief. Okay, remote emotional release. You could use either one of those expressions. This can come through just about any form of movement. Some reading that I've done this week is, really some really interesting discoveries that I've made about this. People who are physically active in some manner are happier and more satisfied with their lives. Now, not a new concept, right? But this is whether it's your preferred choice is if walking, hiking, dancing, yoga, lifting weights. So it really is about finding, something that you enjoy doing. And these benefits, it appears to be true no matter what age you start at, what economic status you are at, where you live. I mean, this is culturally universal. So this whole idea of movement, fitness, playing a role in emotional release and helping you to move forward in your life in more ways than one, releasing that pent up energy, it really is all powerful motivators, for just choosing something and
Hmm.
getting started, just choosing something that comes natural,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
playing with your kids,
Yeah.
whatever that might
Yeah. So absolutely, and I think that you said something really key there, and two is just kind of recognizing that healing emotional trauma is not just about letting go mentally, right? It's also about releasing those physical blocks, and so when you start to incorporate that movement, those things that you gave us, you allow your body to really have a place of freedom and a place of release. And I think that's what's most important. Like trying to do one without the other is only going to give you short term results
be.
because you're going to go back around in cycles wondering why again. You still feel the same way.
Yeah.
And I think a testament to that is when you have, let's say, someone who's very overweight and they lose a lot of weight. They still usually, typically, if they haven't worked on their mindset or any emotional things, they still have a mindset of being a big woman or a man. And then also they have that those emotional baggage kind of tied to being the bigger version of themselves. And this is why being able to work on the mindset, being able to like heal those emotional limiting beliefs and those setbacks from that trauma is going to help you be the whole woman, right? That well-rounded version of yourself.
Yes, yes. I can really relate to what you just mentioned about, this, it's an interesting phenomenon that happens, as somebody who has experienced being at a much heavier weight than I was happier with in my younger years. In my early 20s, I was, at a weight that was very much uncomfortable for me. Um, Numerically, the number was not comfortable for me. And losing that weight, it didn't just cure me of all of my issues.
Yeah.
What I learned is I still saw myself the same way. I saw myself taking up too much space, right? And I saw myself still feeling like, I really didn't have a handle necessarily on myself emotionally. I didn't really understand
Yeah.
myself so well. So it is important to do the work, beyond just weight loss or fitness. It's important that we really explore what things we might also need to deal with to help us overcome. So that's definitely true. And in the process of movement or in, let's say, getting stronger, you're going to come up against challenges that are going to cause you to question yourself. You're pushing your body to new limits, right? And if your body and your mind are full of self-doubt, self-limiting beliefs, your body, your performance is going to reflect that. And that's where you can feel like you're kind of hitting that wall over and over again. So just like you can be emotionally stuck, you can also, encounter certain like plateaus in your fitness because you're emotionally stuck, so
Yeah.
really important.
That's so true because your mind can tell you all day long that you're ready to move on and that
Yeah.
you're healed and all this stuff, but then your body is like, and so that's why things will keep resurfacing because we always say that things resurface when you haven't gotten a lesson, but I also like to always add things resurface because you haven't released. You haven't got rid of what's staying in there. So there's a quote that I love. It says, "Let go or be dragged," and that can be used in so many scenarios. But you have to learn to let go, or you're going to be dragged by all those emotions, all those limiting beliefs, all that fear, and all that doubt that is sitting inside of you. And that's, I think, why this topic to me is important because you see, seems like now everyone has the answer, right? And it's like, oh, I got this one technique or that one technique. But it's not any one thing. It's a combination of things, and having tools and being able to have them at your disposal is really, really important.
Mhm. Yes,
So,
I totally agree. I totally agree with that. Um, having these tools, and learning these tools, this is one of the things that I really try to help get across to my coaching with my clients is that, it's not just about doing the thing, going through motions. It is about slowing down. It's about mindfulness. Yes, we may be about to, load up the barbell and do something like a back squat, right? That back squat that you've done maybe 100 times by now. But what I really try to help people see is that if you're not connected to your body, slowing down time somewhat, taking time with your setup, you
Mm-hmm.
know, before getting under that weight, before standing up with that weight, and then before performing, the lift itself. Pay attention to what you're doing, creating a system for how you set yourself up, right? Creating that connection between your mind, what you're thinking, and what your body is doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, or if it's something like even taking a dumbbell and doing something like a bicep curl. This is I call these my shopping bag muscles. I mean, we use these all the time, but
Yeah.
something so small, I think about what muscle, what are we working, what is our, so a lot of that can help you to think about not only what you're feeling, but also connecting how you think to what you're about to, you know. Um, it doesn't have to be all uh, exercise racing
Mm-hmm.
or find answers in your life, but really slowing down and being of how you're going about, elevating yourself in one manner.
Yeah, and that's so true. I think you touched on something really key is your mind and your body are always communicating, like no matter what. And so, like examples, if you felt tightness in your chest, or if you had a knot in your stomach when you're feeling anxious, that's your body responding to those emotions. I remember you told us a story about when you first started going into the gym and you all you did was kind of like you cried through the whole exercise, right? Because there were some emotions that were going on in that and but you push through it, and sometimes pushing through that fear is even a form of release because you're no longer just allowing that fear to keep you stuck, but you're making movement and progress. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and so when you feel light or free or good after a workout or like a meditation, that's your mind responding to that release to your body. And I think that's really awesome because it's simple things that can really help you get to that feeling of release.
Yeah.
And healing trauma and shifting your mindset and improving your fitness, they're all connected, right? We've established that, I think, from the very beginning. So, but when we begin to align and we with these aspects of yourself, you're able to get past those blocks. And you have what I say is you start to come into freedom, right? You start to come into a place of freedom because you know that those past traumas, those past limiting beliefs are no longer basically governing you.
Mm-hmm.
You're actually, oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Something interesting that I learned along those lines is, the mind action with movement, that we've heard of like this endorphin rush, this concept of like the runner's high.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, it's it's more it's more than that. Exercise makes you happy because you get an endorphin rush. It's okay. Well, what's behind that? It really is about these brain chemicals. It's about literally these receptors in your brain that are being made more open, right, to receiving things like joy, emotional connection, community,
Mm-hmm.
right? So the act of exercising, it's not just about a high, but it's about the brain chemistry, right? Give you energy. We've heard that alleviate worry, sure, helps reduce inflammation in the brain. Wow, that's amazing. Protects against depression, anxiety, and loneliness. Yes, we can all understand that. But when we think about how movement, it actually remodels the physical structure of your brain, right? So what you're doing is really affecting your brain so that you can actually combat, things like loneliness, depression. It actually rivals addiction, treatments for addiction. That's how powerful movement can be in our healing. And like I said, it doesn't have to be extremely strenuous. It should be something that you enjoy doing, that you find healing.
Yeah.
Um, and having that start will help you to move forward. Like you mentioned, crying does happen. Yes, crying happens in fitness. But yes, you're right, Nubia. It was in the movement. It was the tears and the keeping going.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Go of it all. When you are in this emotional state, it was tremendously helpful for rewiring my brain to I can still do this even though I'm feeling all this pain from places I'm not even sure where it's coming from. It was good. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think what you just hit on too is just the act of crying. That is such a huge release that people sometimes tend to overlook or they tend to shut down, right? But when we cry, we release a lot, which is why children will cry and you're like you can't stop them until they're finished because they automatically know that they have to release it all out so it doesn't get blocked. And so if we just start to actually look at children and how they process their emotions or how they get over situations, because once a child is done, they've gotten their little tantrum out, they act like it never happened again.
Right.
And so what we learn as children when our parents say, okay, be quiet, stop crying, this and that, and so you start to then keep all that bottled up inside of you. And as an adult, we're like, oh, we don't have time to cry, right? We got too much going on, like get somebody else to do it. But you gotta allow those emotions to really come out and just
Yeah.
release.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Of course, both of us are moms. We know what those times are like, and we know that on the other side of that crying fit is a child who's worked through whatever that frustration
Yeah.
was, right? It's not, and shutting them down. Now, this is something, some of us may have experienced in our childhood of parents or other caregivers who would tell us, stop crying. I'll give you something to cry about. you know
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that sticks with us, that crying is something you do on your own time, in private, and or you just don't do it at all. That's a sign of weakness. You won't even cry in front of yourself.
Yeah.
um, and that is something that doesn't serve us. There's a time and a place for that emotional release, and if we weren't allowed it in our childhood, it's never too late. It's never
Yeah.
too, you know remind yourself that it's okay to have that surge of emotion, to let that flow out and away from you, so you can get back to business.
Seriously, and I would even say a good telltale sign to tell you if you have like negative trapped emotions or if there's blockages is if you can't cry. Like if no tears come ever and you've had moments where you're sad or where you're frustrated, there's an emotional blockage there, and so that's something you can actually start to work on and go deeper in. And this first thing that you can do, like I we always go back to, but is really journaling and sitting with yourself. And so one of the things I like to do when I'm feeling like stressed is I'll just do a simple 4x4 breathing technique, whereas where you just breathe in for 4, you hold it at the top of your lungs for 4, then you exhale for 4, and then hold it for 4. And I do that 4 times. And that will calm my mind. And then it will allow me to kind of see, okay, what's going on with my body? Why am I feeling these emotions? What was I doing when I felt it? Was there a trigger? Did someone say something? And then you really start to ask questions to the question to the question. And then that's how you get down to the root.
Yeah, yeah, box breathing, I think it's called, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yes, I do that too. It's amazing how slowing down the breath, slowing down time, becoming really mindful, helping ground you in that moment. Um, Also, body scanning,
Mm-hmm.
you know, going through the body and identifying, areas which are tense, just feeling yourself in your body. Really, that practice, stay connected. And that doesn't require, you can do this while you are sitting, you can do this while you are walking slowly. If it helps some of us, it helps to move. Walking has been shown to be very cathartic for working through issues and problems.
Yeah.
I don't mean like a walk uphill,
Mhm.
you know, but we're talking maybe a flat walk in a place where you feel safe.
Mhm.
And really processing through these things and practicing on your breathing and slowing things down. You
Yeah.
know, that's definitely helpful. Um, One of the other things that I learned, which you just reminded me of, along this idea of your muscles, physical activity, your muscles are secreting these hormones into your bloodstream that are making your brain, right? They're having on your brain, which makes it more resilient to stress.
Mhm.
And so that was really mind blowing for me, because you think, okay, it's going to help me with my stress, right?
Yeah.
I'm working out all that pent up energy.
Mhm.
But we can't avoid stress in our life,
Yeah.
right? What we can't ask for is no more stress. But what we can ask for and what we can help ourselves with is building resilience to
Yeah.
stress, making us stronger against it,
Yeah.
um, so that we don't crumble.
Mhm.
So again, bringing it back to movement, and then also not just the movement, but there's also the spiritual, the emotional component. Talking through these things with somebody like Nubia, who's really trained and skilled, and being helping you to sort of get past some of the static,
Yeah.
um, to help you get down to the root of it, so that you can move. Sometimes that's the first step, right? You can be so locked up that you need to process through some of these things with somebody like Nubia, before you can move. And for some of us, we need to move to sort of break the ice.
Yeah.
So, being thoughtful about your approach to healing is super important.
Yeah. And absolutely. And I know we're here to guide you guys on a journey. So um, over the next few episodes, we're going to be diving into deeper into some practical tools and really some techniques that you can use to align your mind and your body and to heal those emotions and to actually really take your fitness to another level as well, because that's important too. Like when you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, you perform better overall in life. And so you can always click the link in our bios and you can book a free 30-minute consultation. I think yours might be a little longer, but you can book a consultation with us. If you have questions or anything, we're always here for you.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. On my website, I offer called a goal getter session. And this is really meant to sort of help you get into with what it is that you want, what it is that you want out of your body physically,
Mhm.
um, and also to give you a chance to experience what maybe moving is like, and it's non-judgmental, and very, it's an open sort of conversation. It's more of a conversation than anything. So yeah, that you can reach out to either one of us or both of us.
Yeah.
Work together, and we work very well together. And so definitely I lean towards Nubia, who has an expertise in areas that I don't.
Mhm.
And that's the beauty of meeting other like-minded individuals who work a little differently in other fields, is that we really help and support each other with our clients. Of course, protecting confidentiality
Yeah.
and all of that. But yes, in future episodes, there will be, movement demonstrations, giving you an opportunity to maybe even loosen up. I have some stretching that I want to, share with you guys. My shifts, Nubia's specialty,
Mhm.
um, holistic. Really, we're talking about a holistic approach, helping us to align ourselves to our highest self. Um, so yeah, now's the time. Now's the time. Join us on these podcasts every week. We're going to be getting better and better because both of us are a lot of reading and a lot of so we can give you really quality information in these conversations.
Absolutely. And so, again, just thank you all for joining us on the Whole Woman Podcast, again, where we talk about all things mindset, movement, and motivation. And remember that the transformation, it comes from within, because you have the power inside of you to make change. And all you have to do is start. And once you start to take a little step, the universe and God will take a step towards you and start putting things in your path to help you get the change in that you need.
Yeah. And until next time, keep moving with intention, keep
Yeah.
healing with purpose, keep manifesting your dreams, find what moves you, and don't stop there.
Yes, absolutely. And I will end it with, healing is a lifestyle, it's not a trend. And so every day, do something that is going to get you closer to your desired version of yourself. Until next time, next Thursday, same time at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. I always say it wrong. Is it Pacific?
Pacific, yes. The West Coast.
You can back. You can join us back again. Okay.
Yes. We'll see you
All right.
next time.
See you next time. Bye.